the Occassional Address.
Chancellor, Provost, faculties, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, and in particular, those of you who are graduating today. I'm honored to be here this evening to deliver this occasional address to business and health science graduates of the University of Tasmania. However, as it comes with a great responsibility, I am not sure whether I would be able to live up to your experience. I was here in this very Albert Hall exactly 14 years ago when I graduated with my PhD from this fine institution. As a proud alumnus of this sandstone university, it could not have been a better occasion for me to revisit my very own alma mater that I loved so much, miss so much, and to which I owe so much. Friends, life is all about celebrations. Graduation is no exception. It is the celebration of your accomplishment, celebration of reaching one of the most significant milestones of your life, and the celebration of overcoming one hurdle of your life and entering into another one. Today, I am taking this opportunity to reflect on my own trajectory of a checkered life that I have endured for more than half a century, a life filled with excitements, accomplishments, and celebrations. I was born in a middle-income family in 1961 in the then East Pakistan. I started studying at home at a very tender age under the guidance of my parents. I was formally admitted to a school in 1968 when I was 7, and I was directly placed in grade 3 as the headmaster thought I was too old to go to a lower grade. And do you know what? It was my very first celebration of life that I remember. The following year, there was a popular uprising in the then East Pakistan against the political marginalization and economic exploitation of the East by the ruling military junta of West Pakistan. It culminated into a war of liberation that eventually created a new nation, Bangladesh. The victory was achieved on the 16th of December 1971, 42 years ago today. As a 10-year-old boy, I vividly remember that day. My heart pounded, I screamed, ran around in the street with others. It was another occasion to rejoice and celebrate. During my school years, I had a dream of serving my country and serving the humanity. My mother in particular instilled that ideal in me. During the hot summer days, she used to prepare liters of cold sweet drink with limes, ice and sugar by herself, and usually asked my brother and myself to distribute the drink among the thirsty passers-by in the nearby busy streets. She had the passion to help others, from poor neighbors to poor children in the street. Alas, it was an idyllic Bangladeshi autumn when my dear mother was suddenly diagnosed with cancer, and without giving much time, she passed away. As a young teenager, I did not even realize that she was leaving us. The day before she died, she called me up and told me, "My son, the most important thing in your life is to prepare for a good and happy future for yourself and for others around you." It was 1976, and I was only 15. The world literally collapsed and fell on me. I felt myself empty. However, I eventually started contemplating on what my mother told me, recuperated myself, and began my new journey without my mother, who was and still is the leading light in my life. At that stage, I thought the easiest way I would be able to realize my mother's dream would be by joining the government. My mother believed good civil servants were needed to build our fledgling, war-torn nation. Immediately after I had graduated with an honors from the University of Dhaka, I appeared in the competitive exam to join the civil service. I was successful and was appointed as the youngest magistrate ever in the history of Bangladesh. It was 1983. I served the civil service of Bangladesh in various capacities. I sought to help people in poverty-stricken rural Bangladesh. I also tried my best to uphold the rule of law, equity, and fairness within my administrative jurisdiction. I had to do it as instructed by my mother for my own satisfaction and for that of others. My mother's dream had come true. The celebration continued. Subsequently, I realized that I needed to upgrade my knowledge about life and the world. Accordingly, in 1989, I successfully applied for a scholarship to study in Australia, and my international academic journey began as an MBA student at Monash University in December 1991. It was an intense, difficult program with a lot of interesting experiences. I was, however, able to do amazingly well and received plenty of good grades and appreciations. On one occasion, one of my lecturers was so impressed with one of my assessments that she was not convinced that it was entirely written by me. She made a comment suggesting that I might be indulging in plagiarism. She asked me to see her and began advising me of possible penalties that I could be subjected to because of plagiarism. I listened patiently and quietly informed her that it was my own work and entirely written by me. She asked me to write a paragraph on an instant topic in front of her. I did. She read the piece, nodded her head, shook my hands, and uttered, "I see, you write good enough English." As a newly arrived international student, it was my very first celebration in Australia as a non-native English speaker. I finished my MBA at the end of 1993 with an additional 17th subject because I completed too many subjects in the first 3 semesters, and celebration continued. I headed back to Bangladesh and served the civil service there for another year before I accepted a scholarship offer to do a PhD at the University of Tasmania. It was a shocking experience for my family and myself, though, when our plane landed in Launceston Airport in February 1995. Coming from one of the most populous countries in the world, we found Launceston, with a population of less than 60,000 at that time, too quiet and peaceful to the point of eeriness. We also thought a Launceston winter could be a dreadful one to survive, with temperature expected to fall below -4 degrees. However, to our surprise, we found Launceston a fantastic place to be alongside friendly Launcestonians. Winter was fine and crisp, with the sun shining most days, with beautiful morning dews glistening on the greenery of grass and beautiful bushes. I love Launceston. By the middle of 1997, I had completed the full draft of my PhD thesis. in 2.5 years, as you can assume. Although I was interested in going back to Bangladesh at the end of my PhD, my supervisor insisted that I apply for a just advertised job at Massey University in New Zealand to test the water. I did, and surprisingly, I was offered the job following a lengthy telephone interview. Dilemma kicked in, and my wife and I got into arguments. She wanted to see children growing up in a stable, healthy environment, and I was predetermined to fulfill my mother's dream. Eventually, we both consulted my father, and he thought that I was still able to serve Bangladesh and any other place through promoting multiculturalism and contributing to research and knowledge in areas of social justice, anti-corruption, and poverty alleviation. He also advised us on the value of raising children to the best of their potential. I obliged and took up the position at Massey. In 1999, I returned to the University of Tasmania in Hobart as an academic. I also graduated with my PhD in the same year here in Launceston. It fulfilled two of my major dreams, getting my PhD and serving my alma mater at the same time, and celebration continued. In 2001, I left Tasmania for Monash, another of my alma maters. After serving Monash for almost 10 years, I joined RMIT in 2010. I am currently an academic, social activist, and a media commentator. I still maintain my links with Bangladesh and actively involved in charitable and knowledge creation activities both in Australia and Bangladesh. Now, you may ask the question, what is more important to you? Money, fame, status? Yes, these are important. I value them just as everybody else. However, beyond these needs, I try to achieve a sense of satisfaction and reasons for celebrations again and again, as I know that my ultimate achievement is to create a happy future, not only for myself, but for others around me as well. At this point, I cannot avoid referring to Nelson Mandela, one of the greatest human beings that the world ever produced. The world is still mourning his death while celebrating his life, aspirations, prudence, and achievements. Mandela was the embodiment of equity, justice, peace, and harmony. He was a true believer in South African concept of Ubuntu, the practice of respecting and maintaining humanity, togetherness, compassion, and goodness, in order to establish a peaceful, collegial, and democratic world. As you will be stepping into the real world from tomorrow, dear graduates, you will be making real-life critical decisions on your own, each with real-life implications for yourself and others. In this new leg of tortuous journey, Mandela's vision may help keeping your human values intact and moral values alive. You can make this journey magical and less arduous when you are prepared to help yourself by helping others. Your attainments cannot turn into real celebrations if they do not touch other people's lives, other people's hearts, because no celebration has a meaning in itself if it is done in isolation, without sharing the joy of accomplishment with others around you, the people you love and who love you. That is why you are celebrating your graduation today with your family and friends. When I see my mother's dream and those of Nelson Mandela's become the same, I dare to dream in the same way and expect you to do the same. We need to replace one Mandela with thousands of Mandelas to make the real world a better place to be. I'm sure many Mandelas are sleeping in you. Wake them up from their slumber and bask yourselves in the glory of celebration tonight. And keep forging ahead, keep thriving, and keep celebrating your life with love, humility, and care. Thank you, congratulations, and good night.
If you'd like to join me in thanking Sharif for his address. It never ceases to amaze, does it, the life story of others, and in some cases the adversity that they've overcome, but also the diversity of their experience, and certainly that is just inspirational really for what can be achieved, and I'm sure will provide some inspiration to all of you graduates tonight. So thank you again, Sharif.